Oh, hey. Nice to see you again. Welcome to a late show. I'm Stephen Colbert. We did a live show last night. Does that mean I'm a little punchy? Let's find out. It's been 24 hours since Joe Biden's address to a joint session of Congress, and the nation is still basking in the warm afterglow of basic competence. We're all high off that low bar. While Biden doesn't bring the rhetorical fireworks to his speeches, Pops Joe laid out an ambitious and malarkey-free agenda full of goodies for the middle class, like vastly expanding family leave, child care, health care, preschool, and college education for millions at a cost of $1.8 trillion. That's a big chunk of change for a guy who still thinks a nickel will buy you a meatloaf sandwich and a ticket to the Jack Dempsey fight. President wants to pay for all that with increased taxes on the wealthiest earners. Yes, he's taking from the rich and given to the poor, which has led a lot of people to compare him to Robin Hood. He is, of course, opposed by his archenemy, the Sheriff of Rottingham. And America loved it. According to a new CBS YouGov Arby's Crispy Curls poll, Biden's speech had an approval rating of 85%. Pretty good, but that's a sampling of all Americans. Republicans enjoyed the speech a little less. Take Texas Senator and divorced Porky Pig, Ted Cruz. Now, you might say, it's not right for me to make fun of him twice in the same show, so I'll make fun of him 3 times. And by him, I mean former presidential candidate and Fidel Gastro, Ted Cruz. Cruz went viral last night when, during the speech, he fell asleep. I can relate to Ted Cruz. Now that Joe's president, I find it much easier to sleep, too. Cruz was roundly mocked online, and Bernie Sanders drew a penis on his forehead. To explain his behavior, Cruz tweeted the video of him falling asleep with the hashtag boring but radical. So he admits he's witnessing radical historic change, but that makes him sleepy. We got to stop Joe Biden. The next thing you know, he's going to nationalize the petroleum industry. Another Republican critical of the speech was former White House advisor and man who makes jewelry out of baby teeth, Stephen Miller. Miller said the speech had no warmth, a lifeless and dry address. Miller likes his speeches the way he likes his food, warm and wriggling. Perhaps the harshest review came from former New Jersey governor and man attempting the one-cheek sneak, Chris Christie. Christie was no fan of how much Biden's plans were going to cost.
The words of this speech sounded like what you would hear from a 15-year-old if you gave him a credit card with no credit limit on it.
Really? What kind of incredibly responsible and empathetic 15-year-old is Chris Christie hanging out with? You guys, I stole my dad's credit card. What do you say we go to the mall and give free meals to all the needy children? Then we can drive out to the point and expand broadband to rural areas. Yeah! Faced with the popularity of Biden's plans, Republicans have only 2 options: criticize them anyway, or just take credit. Because GOP lawmakers have been promoting a provision in the COVID relief package that they voted against. No, GOP, you don't get to take credit for something you try to destroy. You don't see Thanos doing this at the end of Avengers. We did it! Yay! One GOP representative from Indiana who opposed Biden's restaurant revitalization fund tweeted, "Who's your small business owners? Help is on the way for those in the food and restaurant industry who are still in need of assistance through the @SBA.gov's Restaurant Revitalization Fund." He's trying to have his cake and eat it too, even though he voted to let the bakery go out of business. Now, by the way, that rep right there, that's Greg Pence, Mike Pence's older brother. You can see the resemblance. I did not realize that haircuts were genetic. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi clapped back yesterday, releasing a statement that said, breaking, 2 more House Republicans exposed for voting no, but taking the dough. Oh, snap! Nancy's dropping bars. You should check out her full diss track.
These Republicans, they think they're fancy, but they're just hypocrites. Take it from Nancy. We do all the work while Ted Cruz naps. That's it. Mic drop, Pelosi, clap.
Biden's also earning high marks for his COVID response, namely having any response. And there's more good news on the viral front there, and I'll tell you all about it in tonight's installment of The Vaccine.
After you're shot, after you get it, after you're shot, you won't regret it. You'll feel good, you'll feel fine, and not to do it would be asinine. After you're shot, after you get your shot.
Oh, hey. The pandemic tide may have turned because as of yesterday, new COVID cases are down 26% from 2 weeks ago. That is great news for New York because Mayor Bill de Blasio has said New York plans to fully reopen on July 1st. Hot damn, in just 2 months, New York City could be back to normal. No more worrying about catching COVID, back to worrying about catching whatever's in that puddle on the subway seat. It sloshes around when it takes corners. And when de Blasio says fully open, he means that there'll be no restrictions on restaurants, retail, or any other business. That includes New York City's most lucrative business, people selling Bill de Blasio sucks t-shirts. This is an amazing turnaround for the city. Just over a year ago, we were the global epicenter of the coronavirus pandemic. It was scary, and it takes a lot to scare New Yorkers. On my walk into the building today, I passed a drunk lunatic with his hands down his pants, raving about how the government's out to get him. And I just said, stay away from me, Rudy. Some New Yorkers thought de Blasio's July 1st reopening goal was too conservative, namely New York Governor Andrew Cuomo seen here trying to make Ronan Farrow catch fire with his mind. When asked about the mayor's plan to reopen New York by July 1st, Cuomo did his usual de Blasio stomping.
I don't want to wait that long. I think if we do what we have to do, we can be reopened earlier.
Okay, you hear that? The governor doesn't want us sitting on our hands when we could be using those hands to stroke the faces of our staffers. Finally, we have a late show update. You may recall a couple of weeks ago when I brought you the news of the NYPD test driving its newest crime-fighting tool, the robotic police canine called DigiDog.
I've never seen nothing like this before in my life. Do you see this?
Yes, it's everything you love about dogs, minus anything you love about dogs, plus a couple of things that terrify you about humans. Unfortunately, the robot dog elicited in the public what sociologists classify as the heebie-jeebies. So the NYPD has announced that the police department will return the robotic dog. Mayor Bill de Blasio celebrated the decision, with his spokesman saying he was glad that DigiDog was put down. Shh, Bill, we told the kids DigiDog was just going to a data farm upstate, remember? But now that the NYPD isn't using DigiDog, it means he's in need of a new forever home.
Every year, countless excited police departments adopt a horrifying glimpse of a nightmare future, then realize they can't care for it. For just $94,000, you can be the one to give some much-needed love to a machine that cannot receive it. He's house-trained and Bluetooth compatible. So pick up the phone and call now. Just don't pick it up too quickly, or DigiDog will perceive that as a threat. No! Down! DigiDog, no! DigiDog!
We got a great show for you tonight. My guest is Mila Kunis, but when we come back, I show you this season's hottest Mother's Day cards with America's hottest mother, my wife, Evie.